Hello, welcome to my channel, and today we're just going to go over some new vinyl finds and some new purchases that I've got over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I've got quite a bit to go through today, so let's crack on with it. First, I will say, just before I started filming this, I was listening to this Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue. If you haven't got it, it's a great album. It's an instrumental guitar album. It's jazz, but it's really, really good. Just a bit of a shout out. This is the Blue Note reissue, but it's still really, really good. Anyway, I digress. Let's get on with the vinyl finds. So the first one is a record that back in the day I only ever owned on CD and never ever owned it on vinyl. The vinyl was always hard to get a hold of, and that is Head by the Monkees. Now, this is the Rhino reissue. This is the new remaster cut by Chris Bellman, and I can tell you now, this sounds absolutely fantastic. If you're a casual Monkees fan, you may not like this album. It's a bit left field, but I think it's probably their best album, but that's just me. So this comes in a really good high quality tip-on type jacket, and they've reproduced the reflective front of the jacket. On the back you've got the Monkees there. I actually think when they done that, let's see, I can't get it. I actually think the back of this is sort of an homage to the back cover of Revolver. But yeah, this is a great album. Like I say, it's the Chris Bellman remaster. It sounds absolutely fantastic. This was bought brand new. I got this from a dealer on Discogs. It arrived sealed, and yeah, not much else I can say about this. It's got the classic tracks on it, Paul's Song and Circle Sky, which are absolutely brilliant. Paul's Song is one of my favourites. It's quite psychedelic, it's quite out there, but it's a really good, really, really good album. They sort of produced this themselves, wrote and produced it themselves. I think when they done this album, they were, and the film bombed big time at the cinema, or at the movie theatre, as you Americans say. At the cinema, the film bombed when it came out, but the soundtrack done better than the film, I think. But yeah, if you like sort of late 60s psychedelia, pet sounds, that sort of thing, really check it out. Head, it's a brilliant album. I really like it. Next we have got, and this is a first pressing, we've got Making Movies by Dire Straits. This is an original first pressing from 1980, I think it was. Yeah, 1980. This has got a ton of love on it, Romeo and Juliet, etc. I was never a huge Dire Straits fan, but being a guitarist, I always sort of took notice of Mark Knopfler, and you know, there's no doubt about it, he's a brilliant guitarist. So I was always interested in, get it the right way around, it was upside down. I was always interested in Mark Knopfler. I've got a few of their albums now. I wasn't intending on buying a load of Dire Straits, but I'm finding myself buying their back catalogue. I need to get their first self-titled album, and then I need to buy Communique. Was there one after that? Can't remember. But anyway, as a side note, what I will say is this album, I mean, you can buy this for 20 quid, I think. I think I paid about £15 for this in VG Plus near mint condition. these sound really, really good, almost audiophile quality. Especially, I have got. I have got Love Over Gold as well. Love Over Gold sounds absolutely fantastic, but this sounds just as good. What I will say about Dire Straits' original first pressings, they are really, really high quality. They sound phenomenal. So if you want an audiophile copy of a record for not much money, get any of the Dire Straits' original first pressings. You won't go far wrong. Yeah, a bit of a classic album as well, Making Movies. A great album. Next, we have a record which goes back to my youth. I bought this when it first came out on vinyl. I bought it, I think, in the first week of its release. And as with all of my record collection, it went the way of the boot sale. And that is Filigree and Shadow, This Mortal Coil. This was top of my bucket list, my get repurchase list since the day I bought another turntable. I must get Filigree and Shadow. This is such a well recorded record. It's a bit unfortunate. This was sold as near mint jacket, but I don't know if you can see that. There's ring wear on it. I don't think that's near mint. It's a bit grubby. There's foxing on the front. There's foxing on the labels. It's not near mint. I'd say this is VG plus. That aside, the records sound excellent. They're in excellent condition. The records are probably near mint, but I think it's just a bit of a storage issue with this. There's also on one of the inner sleeves, there's a pawn shop sticker. So at some point in its life, this found its way into a pawn shop and was sold to a pawn shop. Someone was obviously trying to make some money. I paid £20 for this. First pressing, you can't buy it anymore. I don't think it's available. I'll have to check actually. Filigree and Shadow. Let's have a look. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. Discogs. Let's look at my Discogs. Filigree and Shadow. Here we go. Right, let's scroll to the bottom. Oh yeah, it was reissued. Deluxe 2 LP deluxe edition reissued in 2018. So I stand corrected. Yeah, so maybe. How much is that going for? That's actually going for not bad money. The reissue, the remaster. Mint. Let's just select mint. Mint. Factory sealed. £16. Oh, hang on. No, that was in America. Factory sealed. A lot of these are only available in America. Oh, here we go. Brand new factory sealed. Oh yeah, £25. So you can get a remaster of this for 25 quid off Discogs or around about that price point. It's a great album. It's This Mortal Coil, which was it's a bit like an Alan Parsons project thing. It was I forget the guy's name that run Cherry Red Records, the guy that owned it. It was his recording project where he took different 4AD, Cherry Red, 4AD, sorry, not Cherry Red, 4AD records. He took different 4AD artists and they collaborated and they brought out records under the name This Mortal Coil. I have one other one, which is a 12-inch of Song of the Siren by This Mortal Coil. That's got Elizabeth Fraser on it singing, in unintelligible lyrics. You can't understand what she's saying, but it's still a great song. But yeah, Filigree and Shadow. This is a brilliant record. It's a double album, so for 25 quid, double album, you can't really go wrong with that. I think that it's well worth it. It's a single jacket, not a gatefold. There's no master. I don't think there's any mastering information on the run out groove, but it's going to be 4AD, so it's not going to be a top end Mastering engineer, I wouldn't have thought. Let's see. I don't even think there's any mastering information on it. You have to excuse me, I'm a little bit congested. I have a little bit of a virus. No, not much. Very little in the way of mastering information on the Run Out Groove. But that said, it's still a great record, worth picking up if you can get it, whether it be the remaster or one of these first pressings, worth getting hold of. Right, let's turn that on. Right, next on the agenda is this is a bit of a cut myself. Right, I bought this on a punt. I've never heard it before. I've been buying a few different Alan Parsons project records over the last few months, and I saw this and it was going for a really, really cheap price. That's Alan Parsons Project Pyramid. This was released in 1978, I believe. 78, yeah. So this is sort of between iRobot and Turn of a Friendly Card. This come out sort of midway between them. This is a really good record, actually. I paid about 10 quid for this in VG Plus condition. This is the first pressing. I didn't even know this existed. You know, put in your comments below if you've heard of this. You probably have heard of it, you know, but I was a little bit sort of late to the party with Alan Parsons. I've never really heard this. There's another, the first Alan Parsons Project record, the Edgar Allan Poe Tales of Mystery and Imagination or whatever it's called. I'm gonna get that. I need to get iRobot, but I didn't really. This went under my radar nearly. I was looking on Discogs and saw this, and I thought, wow, didn't even know that existed. This is a really good record, actually. It's well produced, obviously produced by Alan Parsons, produced and engineered by Alan Parsons. Yeah, this is really good. I wonder if the cutting engineer was on this. If indeed there's any cutting engineer information, there might not be. Is Blair. Over the thing. So we have got, oh God, it's a pyramid, 15. No cutting engineer information, but it's, I was pleasantly surprised with this. So I can recommend it if you like Alan Parsons. Give it a go. It's really cheap to pick up. I think it's a bit of an underdog record. It normally goes under the radar with a lot of people, but it's worth checking out. Alan Parsons Pyramid. Right, so we're now carrying on with my foray into buying all of the James Bond original soundtracks. And I've got a couple here. This one's an original first pressing from 1971, and we have Diamonds Are Forever, Forever, Forever. This is actually a really good soundtrack. It's one of my favourite Bond films anyway. It's got a classic theme by Shirley Bassey, and this is in really good nick. I would say this is VG Plus near mint condition, both record and jacket. It plays faultlessly, there's no ticks or pops on it. It's really, really good actually. So yeah, we've got that one, Diamonds Are Forever. And the next one, which I was really pleased to get hold of at such a good price, because a lot of the 60s Bond soundtracks are holding their price. Some of them, I mean, Dr. No, to get near mint VG Plus of that, you're talking £50, £60. I was looking at On Her Majesty's Secret Service on Discogs and trying to get hold of a near mint VG Plus of that. It's like £80, £90. Unbelievable. But I got this one from Russia with Love. This is a first pressing from 1960. Can't remember what year it was. 63, I guess. 63, 64. I can't remember the year it came out, to be fair. 63. This has got the old flip back. You can't see it, but this has got the flip backs. There's a a little bit of staining on the back, but nothing to write home about. It's in excellent condition. That lamination, there's no the lamination has not started lifting. This is, I really like this record, From Russia with Love. Another one of my favourite Bond films. I tend to like the 60s Bond films. I sort of went out of favour with Bond in the late 70s, early 80s. I just couldn't cope with Roger Moore's humour. But yeah, From Russia with Love. Right. This next record is one that I've been wanting for quite a few months. I need to buy a first pressing of it. I have got a shootout video in the pipeline for this. I've done a couple of other Kate Bush shootouts, and this one's no exception. This is The Dreaming, by Kate Bush. This come out sort of in between Never Forever and The Hounds of Love. This was probably her most experimental album out of all of her records that she's done, I think. This is very much a Marmite album. You either love it or you hate it. There's some standout tracks on this for me. Night of the Swallow, I absolutely adore that song. Obviously, you've got The Dreaming, and spoiler alert, I can now say that Rolf Harris has been removed from the credits. This is the remaster. So Rolf Harris has been removed from the credits of this album. On the inner sleeve, he's not mentioned. He is mentioned. He gets a credit on the original first pressings, but obviously because of recent news around Rolf Harris over the last number of years, he's been removed from the credits. This is on Kate's Fish People label. This was remastered by Bernie Grunman, and it sounds really, really good. I suspect it's going to be the same as the other Grunman remasters. This is going to be bass heavy, I think. We shall see. I need to buy a first pressing of this, but guess what? First pressings of The Dreaming, they're holding their price. You want a near mint, and I will be getting a near mint copy of this, first pressing of this. I'll be expecting to pay about 40 quid for it, I think. But yeah, you can pick this up for about 20 quid, I think. This is the remaster. It's really heavy, 180 gram vinyl, pretty good quality jacket. Yeah, worth checking out. Right. This is another one that I've bought for a number of reasons. One, I'm planning a shootout video in a month or so's time, but I need to pace myself because the copy that I want to buy is a Classic Records release version of this. This is my favourite Genesis record out of anything they've done. That's The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. This is the remaster. I think actually this was one of the ones that was subject to that remix that they done. They remixed a lot of the original the original recordings from Genesis. I've got Foxtrot up there as well, and that sounds very different to the original first pressings. This is the same, I think. I haven't got a first pressing to compare it to. My plan is to get a first pressing of this and to save up and get a Classic Records pressing of this. The Classic Record pressing of The Lamb has, I've been holding out for a copy of that for the last 2 or 3 years, trying to find one at the right price. It's going to be 3 figures, but holding out for the right price and the right copy. This is a brilliant album. It's a double album, as you know. It's got the old type Charisma label logo with the Mad Hatter on it, which is quite nice. Yeah, it's The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I have listened to this. There are some bits on it that stand out to me that don't sound familiar. Like I say, I haven't got an original pressing to compare this up against. This was mastered by Miles Scholl at Abbey Road. I'm not sure whether it was a half-speed master or whether it was a normal speed. It doesn't actually say on the dead wax that it was a half-speed master. It's quite possible it was, but I don't know. But yeah, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Genesis, one of my favourite, probably my favourite Genesis LP from 1975. Famously, Peter Gabriel's last album with Genesis. He went on the Lamb tour and left the band at the end of the tour. But yeah, so that is it for this week. It's Easter bank holiday weekend. So I hope you have a great Easter, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye bye.